how does the band react to that? I mean, did you
Well,
just, oh my God, Jordan just brought another one, or?
they, like everybody's different about it. I mean, Mike is really excited that I'm kind of like on the cutting edge of all this technology, and values the fact that I'm doing that, because it's really important in what we do to stay fresh in many ways, and we all try to do it in different ways, and some of us more than others. So I think that Mike, definitely values the fact that I'm, interested, stay on top of technology, always trying to do something different, bringing new things into the band to kind of like keep things bubbly and happening and interesting, and that's pretty cool. And John, Petrucci, I think he just thinks it's wild and crazy and Jordan-like to do those kind of things, and expects it, and would probably be disappointed if there was nothing new. John Mayung, he doesn't say much about anything, so I think it's fine with it.
All right.
And and James, I think, thinks it's a trip also that I'm into all this crazy stuff, and they see me as this wild guy who just has some extreme interests in technology and toys of all shapes and sizes.
That's cool.
So it's pretty cool.
Well, yeah, about the iPod apps and all this stuff, and like the Continuum, which is a very different instrument. I mean, how do you manage to master so many new gadgets that differ from conventional instruments?
Well, I mean, the reality there is that as far as practice time goes, I'm mostly practicing the keyboard. I mean, something like the Continuum, what's great is that, well, the Continuum is a very deep instrument, and I could, one could sit there and practice it like, as I did the piano, and hopefully somebody will. But I learned it to a point and learned something specific that I do on it, which is kind of play my lead sound, my, intense leads. And I got a cool technique and some tricks to do that, and I feel comfortable with it. And then playing it every night on stage certainly doesn't hurt, and that's kind of a way to, accelerate and keep refining it, and having to play it in front of an audience adds the extra kind of pressure to make it happen, kind of, my progress happen a little bit quicker. But an instrument like that could be played in so many different ways that one of the things that I look forward to is time off, so I can go back and I can kind of rediscover an instrument like the Continuum and learn other things to do with it. I'm especially excited because the Continuum, the one I've been using for years, doesn't have a sound on its own. It's what they call a controller, so you have to connect it to an external MIDI module for the sound. So I use a Roland B-Synth for the sound.
Okay.
But now the Continuum designer has made a Continuum that has built-in sounds. Although they're not my sounds, they're still sounds that will be interesting for me to practice on and learn some other types of things, besides the Jordan kind of wild Continuum lead sound that everybody thinks is the Continuum sound, which it's not. It's just one of the sounds possible from that, that controller. So yeah, but like the iPhone, playing my little Bebop application. I practice that. If I'm on a plane, I'll sit there and play with it. Again, not like the piano. I'm not practicing scales and arpeggios and practicing with a metronome and doing that kind of intense focus. But still, I will practice a little bit and get what I need to do together to play it.
Yeah. Well, the members of the community were wondering if what your approach is. Are you just trial and error, or is it really reading the manual, or how do you create the sounds, or get to a new instrument if it's brand new to you?
Yeah, if it's brand new. Well, luckily some of the iPhone stuff that I play, like the Bebop, is very similar in a way to the Continuum, similar kind of thing where you're sliding left to right and playing different pitches, and it's a very similar headspace. So that was a little bit easier.
Okay.
If it's something entirely new, like when I learned how to play the Axis 64, I don't know if you've seen that, but it's this very cool instrument. It's also a controller that's based on the harmonic table. It's really a different kind of a fingering. So that I haven't played in a while, but that was something that I really had to wrap my head around. And I got to a certain point. My goal was to be able to do a video on it and to show it, and I did it. And I learned to play it up to a certain point where I felt like, okay, I can present this. If you asked me to play it right now, I would be like, oh, I better spend another month and play that thing.
Yeah.
But if I have a focus and I have a goal with an instrument, sometimes I can do it. And then again, if somebody asked me to play like a clarinet or something like that, there's not a chance in hell because I can't do that. There's certain instruments I can wrap my head around faster. If it's guitar-like or something with like keys on it, yeah. But if it's like bowing or like wind instruments, people think, oh, Jordan, you can play any instrument. Not true. I can't play the violin, the cello, clarinets, trumpets. Those are all things that I'll leave for other people to do.
Can you play any Petrucci solo on guitar?
Petrucci solo? No, I don't have that kind of technique.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe slowly.
Yeah.
But
would you like to have the time to get on a technical level with another instrument like?
Over the years I've spent, for example, speaking of the guitar, there's been times when I've spent, a week or two here and practicing some scales or something like that. The last year or two I haven't really done that on the guitar. Matter of fact, I'm sure you know of that famous night in Chicago where I took the guitar and started to play some kind of whatever it was.
Right.
And I was very unprepared for that because, of course, I had a broken keyboard, but also because I hadn't practiced or played the guitar in like months. So, there's only so much time in a day. And, these days, if there's some cool piece of technology calling me, I'll go for that and want to understand and learn it, maybe rather than playing, the guitar, just because I'm so interested in different creative ways to make music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What's the latest app on your iPod, and what's currently on your musical hot list?
The latest app on my iPod. Well, let's see. What do I have? The app that is the Jordan Rudess app is called JR Hexatone, and that one is very dear to me. It's a sound sequencing environment that is very unusual and kind of different, and so that's, of course, of interest. The latest one, I would say, is called Sound Warp. It's really, really cool, and I have something to do with it, the way it's been developed. It uses granular synthesis. It's pretty esoteric, kind of interesting stuff.
Right.
It's in the form of a little ball that kind of travels across a waveform, and the ball can be controlled by your finger, either forwards or backwards or up or down, and you can like layer sounds smoothly one against another. Can come up with all kinds of interesting textures. This is pretty cool.
It is.
Yeah. I'm also experimenting with another app that also uses granular synthesis, and it's designed by a company called Sound Trends. And what it can do is it can take the this is recording, so it's upstairs. I can't play it for you.
Oh, okay.
But I would have. I can sing it. What it does is it can take a song and you can kind of conduct it with your iPhone or tap it, and you can change the length of time or even the beat. So if you're doing like the rite of passage, right? Or you go so you could go and every time you tap the thing, it goes to the next. So it's pretty cool because it actually will stretch the audio or speed up the audio depending on how you're tapping it. So this is something that's being developed right now.
All right.
Yeah.
It's crazy how you can, with such a small device, you sit on the bed in a hotel room.
Yeah.
And
one of the fun things I was showing one of the crew guys last night was this app that I was very hesitant to buy for a while. It's called I Am T-Pain. Don't know if you've heard of it, but it's an app that a company called Smule, S-M-U-L-E, did using the artist known as T-Pain as a rapper. For some reason, I guess just to make sales. But it's an auto-tune device. Basically, you sing into it and you choose a scale, and whatever you go, ooh, and it changes, it changes each thing to an exact pitch. But then you can do it against one of his grooves or his songs, so you're like the rapper.
Okay.
So you can use it that way, or you can not use his song at all and just sing into it, and it'll auto-tune your voice. Pretty interesting stuff. Very cool.